US Bank has flipped the entire credit card industry on its end, like literally. And I think it's working, but I also don't get their strategy. So let's figure this out together. The card we're covering today is the US Bank Smartly. But by the way, who came up with that? Was that a Trump name? It's like, we don't want a dumb card. We're going to call it Smartly. It's like Bigly, but smarter, way smarter, tremendously smart. Anyway, I don't know who named it, but it's the oddest credit card name I've ever seen. The other weird thing about it is it's black. Like, the US Bank cards are also colorful and patriotic, red, white, and blue. The Reserve, yes, it was silver, but I think they were sort of trying to go for that platinum prestige kind of vibe, which I totally get. But the black card with a little color in it, if it was all black, okay, but it also has color in it. I mean, if you see a black car down the street, you're like, oh, that's kind of a tough looking car. But then if it had like blue and red and stuff all over it, it kind of takes the toughness away from the blackness, I guess. Anyway, odd choice, I think. The other thing that's weird is it doesn't have the horizontal writing across it like all the other cards do. So they're all vertical, but they all are also horizontal at the same time, so that no matter where you hold them, it looks good. But this one, only vertical. And the Smartly name is like super tiny. I totally understand the verticalness that some of these banks are doing, because when you push it into the thing, it's vertical. But when you put it into a wallet, it's not vertical. Unless you have some weird wallet, which I guess some people might have, but generally it's like stacked up. And also think about Apple wallets. They are not vertical. They are like this. So all you see is just a little black with some colors on it. Doesn't really advertise your card very well. Anyway, weird choices. And this whole card is weird in its choices, but let's not get ahead of ourselves. Let's dive into the details. It has a sign-up bonus of nothing. Goose egg. No sign-up bonus. It also has no annual fee, and it's a premium metal card. There's no other card that's a metal card that has no annual fee that I know of, and also no sign-up bonus. Super weird. It does have foreign transaction fees. It also has no access to the travel portal and no access to transfer partners. It's a metal card, a premium metal card. Okay. As for spending categories, you get 2x on everything, and that's it. Now, it doesn't have to be it, so we'll cover that in the next section on the standard benefits. For standard benefits, I mean, this is a Visa signature, so of course you get all just the basic Visa signature stuff, but not really anything else above that. It does have the ability to earn more than the 2x that we talked about in the spending categories for all purchases. We'll go over these when we cover the point system, but you can earn 2.5x on all purchases, 3x on all purchases, and even 4x on all purchases. As for application rules, again, all application rules are with a grain of salt. Mileage may vary. I used to have the US Bank cards as 524, but I got a lot of feedback on that a lot of people were getting the cards and they were over 524. So if it was a rule that's either not a rule anymore or it's a very loosely applied rule. And I know it says Citi 66 and this is a US Bank card, but I think it's just the city came up with the rule and they just happened to also use that rule. So that's why it's called Citi 66. Don't get bogged down on that. But anyway, you'll be declined if there are 6 or more hard inquiries on your credit report in the past 6 months. So for the point system, the Smartly card just earns cash back, but it's more complicated than that. So as you can see here in the point systems, I have 3 separate US Bank point systems, and it's because they don't treat all of their points the same. So we have the altitude rewards, which are the default point earning points that most of the cards used up until recently. So we had the Go and the Reserve, which is now deprecated. So it's just the Go now that earns altitude rewards. And then we had the altitude rewards Connect version, which I had to do a little bit differently because they have a different cash value than the altitude rewards. The altitude rewards, you can cash out your points for 1 cent per point on either of these cards. And then for the Connect, you can only cash them out for 0.8 cents per point on gift cards and cash. But if you did it in the travel portal, then it's still 1 cent per point. So I had to do those separately because of that. Now with the new Smartly card, which is normally cashback, and cashback is always just 1 cent per point, which is fine, except for the fact that I needed a way to apply these tiers, which I do to the points in the website. So it is just cashback. There isn't a point system per se, but I needed to be able to give you a way on the website to apply these rewards tiers, because you will earn more points based on what tier you have. So I have to put that here. And I'm thinking that other cashback cards like the Cash Plus and the Shopper or whatever they may replace those cards with in the future might be using this same method. So I needed to have a system that I could put other cards in and not just directly apply it to one particular card, and then they have another one, I got to apply it directly to that one card. So anyway, that's my logic behind setting it up this way. So if you have the Smartly, you have the bank account, you want to apply those bonuses to your Smartly, then you would do that here in the point system for the US Bank Smartly cashback. So now let's cover the tiers. Now, obviously, with no bank account with US Bank and you have this card, then you will earn 2x points like we talked about earlier. So there's your 2x. So if you have a US Bank Smartly savings account, you have to have the savings account, which does cost you $5 unless you also have a US Bank checking account, which they will waive a fee. And then they will, I think they waive the fee on the checking account if you have a US Bank credit card also. So if you have all those linked together in your account, then it shouldn't cost you a penny to have those accounts. So then once you have that, then you need a combined balance between, I'm just gonna say 50, a combined balance of 5,000 and 50,000, but it doesn't have to be in the savings account itself. It could be in a brokerage account, an IRA, as long as it's with US Bank, then, you know, it could be in the checking, could be in the Smartly savings, could also be in the IRA, could be in a money market account. As long as all those accounts add up to between 5,000 and 49,000, then you will get a 25% bonus on your points earned with the Smartly card. So now I've selected this. When I go back to the Smartly card, you'll see now instead of 2x, it is now 2.5x that you're earning. Now, if you have a combined balance, and this is over 3 months, by the way, so a 3-month rolling balance combined in all your accounts between 50,000 and 100,000, then you'll get a 50% bonus. So if we come back to the Smartly card, you'll see now you're earning 3x on all purchases. Pretty good. And if you have a balance of 100,000 or more, combined balance for all your accounts, you will get 100% bonus on all the points you earn with the Smartly card. So that brings you up to 4x on all purchases, which is the dream, right? 4x on all purchases, and it's huge. Now I'll talk about sort of the downside of that. I mean, it's not really a downside, but a weirdness of that artifact of you earning 4x on all purchases with this one card. But I just wanted to cover the point systems first. So 2x, 2.5x, 3x, and 4x based on the balances you hold in US Bank accounts. And since it is just cash back, there's no transferring to spouses or friends that I'm aware of. If you guys know different, put it in the comments below, but I'm not aware that you can do any kind of transfers of these points to other accounts. You certainly can't transfer them to an existing Altitude Reserve or a Go or a Connect or anything like that. So let's do some card comparisons. First, we'll start with like a catch-all comparison of 3 cards. We'll do the Double Cash, the Smartly, and the Active Cash. This should be really quick. So you're just getting 1 cent per point on the Smartly. You know, this is without the bank accounts, just you have the card, that's it. Or the Double Cash, you can use those points to transfer up to the Strata Premier card. It also has a $200 sign-up bonus. It has a limited time offer now as well. And the Active Cash is a $200 sign-up bonus, and it can transfer its points up to a travel card to get an average of 1.6 cents per point. Whereas the Smartly does not have that option of transferring its points to another card to maximize the value of the points. No annual fees across the board, 2x across the board, cellular protection on the active cash. But of course, the Smartly has the ability to have these percent bonuses on the card if you have money in a US Bank account. All right, so let's do some wallet setup comparisons. Now, with the US Bank, since there's no transferring points between the cards, there's kind of no sense to have a US Bank setup. And now with this Smartly card, where if you have a bunch of money put into a US Bank accounts and now you're earning more than 2x or either 2.5, 3, or even 4x on all purchases, it honestly makes all of the other US Bank cards pointless to use. I mean, why would you need any of the other cards? Maybe the Connect for rental cars and hotels in a portal, I believe, is still 4x on flights. So you're not going to get anything there because you get that on the Smartly. And then 5x on car rentals and hotels. But you can get way better than that with some other cards, and there's no lock-in because you can't transfer points between US Bank cards, so there's no point in locking into US Bank at all. So why not just go get the Venture X, or you get 10x on car rentals and hotels in the portal? Now, if you're not doing 4x because you don't have $100,000, which I can certainly relate to, then okay, maybe you can mix those cards a little bit. You get in 4x on dining with and we'll just pop that up here. So you're getting 4x on airfare and stuff and rentals through the portal, and you get 4x on dining with the Go that you wouldn't be getting with the Smartly. And actually the Smartly, the only thing it would be good for at that point is the 2x. You'd have to get over the 2x. You'd have to at least get 2.5 to knock out some of these other cards in that respect. But again, it's just a normal catch-all card, just like most other banks have that are getting 2x. But the other catch-all cards, most of them can transfer their points to a card that can then use transfer partners, or in the case of the Blue Business Plus, it just has its own ability to transfer to the transfer partners. So again, it makes having a Connect in the Go kind of pointless because you can earn more points with other cards, even with the Smartly. So if you're only getting 2x with the Smartly doesn't really make sense. And let me do some comparisons, and I'll make this clear visually as to why that is. So let's do two other setups with a 2x catch-all card. So we'll do the Duo, Capital One, and then we'll do the City. So City Trifecta. So both of these have the Venture X is 2x and the Double Cash is 2x. So because these cards, now I have my profile set to prefer, I'm going to transfer these to transfer partners when possible. So that means I'm going to get a higher value for my points on any cards that can transfer to the transfer partners. Now, since the Venture X can do that and the Strata Premier can do that, and neither of these cards can do that, not even the Altitude Reserve, which is now removed from their lineup for new applicants. But even if you're grandfathered in, you can't do that on that one either. So the Saver One can transfer its points to the Venture X, and the Double Cash and the Custom Cash can transfer its points to the Strata Premier to then transfer to transfer partners and get more value for your points. So that's why you're seeing these 2x's converting to 3.7. So for the all other category where you're getting 2x on this card, you're getting 3.7x effectively because you can maximize those points in transfer partners to get better value for those points. So when you're comparing apples to apples, 2x is not enough to beat the 2x earning cards on these two setups. So this is no good. It's not helping you. You may as well get the Double Cash and the Strata than the Smartly. Now, let's go to the point system and let's move this up to you're getting 25% more and see if that makes any kind of a difference. So now on the all other, you're getting 2.5. It's still lacking. And I didn't show you the calculations, but it's going to be still not as good down here. So you're doing much better on the Capital One and the City column than you are on the US Bank column. And that's because you're not able to maximize those points in any kind of a transfer partner. So let's go back up to the top and move that bonus earning to 50% bonus. and then we'll come back to, so now we're doing 3. It's still not 3.6, still not 3.7, and you're not going to beat them still. It's a little bit better, but you're still not beating them. So if we come back and now maximize it up to 4x, which now we should be beating them. So here we go, 4x is now beating them on all other. And then it's also stepping in, it should be stepping in on other categories. So now we're getting better groceries. We were only getting 2x, movie theaters. So anything that's not 4x or higher on the other cards, the Smartly now takes over and covers those. But still, in these 4x categories, I mean, you're barely beating them on hotels outside of the portal. Inside of the portal, you're getting demolished. So still not doing great. So we'll go down to the calculations, and it's better, but it's still nowhere near the other cards. Now, the thing, and this is like what I talked about in the Blue Business Plus video, where Amex is sort of encouraging people to step outside of their bank ecosystem with credit cards. Let's get rid of this, right? And then let's add, we'll just get rid of this for now. We'll add another column of the Duo, and then also the Smartly. So if we have the Smartly mixed with this, then it's going to do better. It looks like, well, it's only going to be all other, but still it's a little bit better there. So let's try the City now. City trifecta with the City trifecta again with this Smartly. And so with that, come down to the calculations, and again, it's still a little bit better. So if you're using transfer partners, even with $100,000 in your account, it's not helping that much. It's giving you that 4x, and it's a guaranteed cash 4x versus, this is, you've got to get these points into transfer partners. It's barely helping you. Barely, right? So again, this is my spending. If you come over to my annual spending, I have my annual spending. You should go to the website, put in your own annual spending, and see if that makes a difference. But I doubt it would make too much a differerence, just because this is sort of a catch-all category. So it depends on how much you're doing in the catch-all. But if you're utilizing transfer partners, Smartly's not a great card. It's not as great as you would think it would be. Now, if you're doing travel portal redemptions as your points redemptions preference, so you're not really transferring to partners, and there's many reasons as to why someone might not be able to utilize the transfer partners either in full or even in part. So they typically just use their points, either cash them out for 1 cent per point, or they use them in the travel portal for, like with Chase, you can get up to 1.5 cents per point. Same with the Altitude Reserve, which you no longer can get. But if you have it, then you'll be getting 1.5. If you have the Business Platinum, it's 1.54. Or if you have the Bank of America Premium Rewards Elite, you get 1.25, I think it is. If you're doing that, then it's a different story. It's definitely a different story. So we'll come back over and you'll see that if we come down to the calculations now, way better. I mean, $1,000 difference when you are using the Smartly, because the Smartly kicks in so many areas that you're now no longer getting those transfer partner benefits. So it's covering most of your spend. That's what's crazy. And if you get rid of these and just start adding in 5x cards that earn 5x on things. So let's do the Flex. We'll do and I'll get rid of this because we'll compare to something else. The Cash Plus. the City Custom Cash, the AAA cards, the Freedom Flex, the Discover It Cashback. Those are quarterly cards. Those two are quarterly cards, but they earn 5x, which is going to be better than 4x at times on certain categories. So again, if you're more of Team Cash, if you are using travel portal redemptions instead of transfer partners, then the Smartly card at 4x is huge. So if we just add another column and then just do Chase Trifecta and the Capital One Duo, for example, versus just these straight up cash cards, no annual fee cash cards, and then we come to the calculations and we're skipping the year one because we're talking about year two and beyond, how well these perform. And you're still way ahead of like the big trifectas and duos. So let's combine these. So I think last week we talked about how you could combine these to get better value. And it was the City and the Chase. So we'll do Double Cash and the Strata. We figured out last week that this was the best combination when using travel portal redemptions. So let's see how we do. Come down here. There's no duplicates, so we'll come all the way down to the calculations. Still better. So with that Smartly card getting 4x, it's covering a lot of ground. And then anytime that any of these other cards can get 5x, it's poking its head up and getting those 5x. Otherwise, you're getting 4x on every single thing. Whereas over here, all other, you're just getting 2.25. In the portal, when you're doing stuff, you are getting 15x. And so that's what makes it really close. But otherwise, you're below on groceries, you're below on streaming services, below on utilities, and so on. Whereas the Smartly, you're never getting lower than 4x, which is great. Now let's see how it does with just 3x against that combination, which we saw last week was the best travel portal combination. So we'll come back over here to the point systems and we'll back this off to just earning 3x. And let's then go down to so now, even when you're doing travel portal redemptions on the other cards, because these don't have travel portal redemptions, well, most of them don't, but you know what I mean. You're doing better off with the Chase Trifecta plus the City Trifecta working together than you are even with the Smartly at 3x. So if you're not getting the 4x from the Smartly, kind of doesn't make sense. And also, if you are getting 4x with the Smartly, then you don't need any of the other US Bank cards. So where are they headed with this? You know what I mean? Like, what's the strategy? Like, the card is really cool. It's certainly provocative and interesting in terms of that 4x and pull all your money into US Bank so we can make money off of you on your other accounts interest, but they're cannibalizing every other credit card that they have. So there we are. I'm torn on how effective this card is going to be. Like it's very intriguing, and I see a lot of people jumping on it, but if you have to not be doing transfer partners mostly for it to make sense. So if you're doing transfer partners, don't even bother with it. Don't bother with, honestly, any US Bank card for that matter. And then if you're not doing transfer partners, you got to have $100,000 in the bank or it doesn't make any sense. You'd rather be pulling your points into a Chase card that you're then using for the 1.5 bonus when using in the travel portal. And if you're in Amex, you're absolutely using transfer partners because that's the only way Amex makes sense at all to begin with. So I don't know. I'm torn on this whole Smartly thing. Like, if I had $100,000 to put in a US Bank account, I don't know that I would do that. I don't really like US Bank as a bank that much. I think it's kind of behind I don't know, like their website and their technology doesn't seem great. Like they had those problems with the altitude reserve where people weren't getting the points and stuff. Like that bothers me. That means you don't have your shiznit together technologically, and I'm a tech person, so I know how bad that can be. And if you're not staying on top of your tech and you're having a lot of problems, then it just kind of doesn't sit well with me. I also have heard that with the Altitude Reserve redemptions in their portal, the travel actually costs more than like it does at Chase or with Capital One. Like the purchases cost more. So even though you're getting 1.5 cents per point on redemptions in their portal, the travel costs more, so you're not really getting 1.5 cents per point when you compare it to Chase. Now, I don't have any hard data on that. I could be wrong, just anecdotally. But if that is the case, then right? So anyway, well, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Did you apply for the Smartly? Are you going to put the necessary amount of cash in their account to get more than the 2x on all purchases? And how far are you going? Are you going to 4x? Are you gonna make that happen? In any event, please like and subscribe to the channel. Go sign up for the website. It's completely free, and we will see you in the next video.